Hey guys, it's Clint Networker, and I want to welcome you here to what we're going to be calling Fast Track Fridays. And on Fast Track Friday, I'm just going to kind of get personal with you on some of the more in-depth questions that I've received over the years that have been asked that tend to come up. Question and answers, frequently asked questions, Q&A that I've had other people ask me about this. So this is our first Fast Track Friday, and I want to deal with the question of, are networking careers worth pursuing? And that's a serious question. I've been asked that many times. I was confused over the years when I worked for a Fortune 500 IT company about why I was getting this question. And then as I began to talk to some of the other experts that I worked with, network engineers, others in the industry that are in the industry right now, I began to understand some of the motivations behind the question, and I can give you a very simple answer to it. So the first thing, first rattle out of the hat, I want to give you a simple answer to that question. And by the way, if you haven't subscribed to my channel on YouTube, make sure to do that. Make sure to click the bell if you like this video, and you'll be notified whenever I release more videos on this channel. If you're on my if you're on my Ace Networker site and you're checking this out, make sure to read down through the post and submit any questions to me that you might have, and I'll be more than happy to try to answer those. So on this Fast Track Friday, are networking careers worth pursuing? The simple answer to this is an absolute resounding yes. And what I mean by that is I'm going to be giving you some facts and figures here shortly to kind of go over why the answer is a resounding yes. And we're going to get into some facts and figures that are more pertaining to the United States, which is, obviously where I live and where most of us are here. But you can exempt the United States from these facts and figures and look at some of the other countries in the world, and you'll start to see that that bell curve of demand and supply and demand void, if you will, or kind of a chasm, if you will, of people that are qualified in the field is expanding exponentially, and it's going to be doing that a lot more in other countries. So we'll get to that shortly in just a couple of seconds. I don't want to make this too long, but there are three primary motivations that I discovered behind this question. The first is, just like it is in any other field, in the medical field, in the legal field, in any other field of study that you go into, electronics, I mean, it could be automotive, it could be anything that you go into, any field that you go into, one of the motivators, the biggest motivator behind this is this going to be a legitimate field in 5 to 10 years, or am I going to be studying this and then find out that there's nothing available? I mean, in other words, the field just kind of vanishes or gets swallowed up by some other technology or something else. The facts and figures speak really highly for that, and you're going to find in the networking field that that's really not the case. Networking is going to be not only around for a long number of decades, but who knows how long in our history and humanity, but it is going to need experts that know what they're doing. The second fear behind this is that the technology itself, like we've got things like software-based networking coming along, they're making it easier to manage networks, easier for kind of a plug-and-play aspect of setting up networks, designing them and making them work and function and managing them and watching how to troubleshoot them. Is that technology going to kind of make itself obsolete? In other words, are we just going to bring in components and they're just going to... The simple answer to this is, do you know of any technology that we've invented thus far that never has any problems? It never needs troubleshooting. It never needs experts that know how to install it. It never needs experts that know how to manage it, run it, watch over it, make sure it's secure. Not going to be the case. So that one is kind of nixed and dead in the water, so to speak. The third one is the kind of the fear that those that are experts in the field now are going to be able to run and do everything. For some reason, it's going to be easier for them to run and do everything. So new experts, new people that learn and educate themselves in the field and get experience aren't going to be needed. That's a falsehood. As more companies come along, as more countries expand, and more companies and businesses expand in those countries, regardless of where you are. You could be in India, you could be in Europe, you could be in Australia, you could be in Russia, China, it doesn't really matter. And I do get a lot of viewers and a lot of you guys from all over the planet, so I understand that. But we here in the U.S., I'm going to give you some facts and figures. Networking is not going to be, it's not going to be, you're not going to be able to be capable of having all the businesses that need networks set up, that need devices to communicate and people to be able to communicate and send data back and forth. There's no possible way that even the number of experts that we're going to have in 10 years from now that are getting into the field just now are going to be able to handle it and run it all. So that fear aside, those are the three biggest motivators behind that. Okay. Now, there are some factors that come into play, and I'm going to give you some good facts and figures here from Forbes back in 2015, but there's some facts and figures that come into play, and depending on your locale, it might be more important for you to have an education or a background. When it comes to IT, at this particular stage of the game, this is year 2020, at this particular stage of the game, it might be relevant where you live or where those companies are located. But the long-term aspects of this are that it's not going anywhere. It's going to be more and more needed for you to have your networking skills. All right, so I want to go back to an article that I found in Forbes back in 2015. Went back to 2015, and this article stated that from the year 2010 to the year 2015, the 5 years previous to that, IT jobs increased just in the United States. Now this is, again, just in the U.S., but they increased by 74%. And at that time, there were 200,000, or a little over 200,000 estimated IT jobs and careers open that could not be filled. They couldn't find enough qualified people for those. And they estimated even then, and it's starting to hold true, those facts and figures, that from the year 2015 to the year 2026, there would be a 6% increase in those. Not only that, but here's the really good news. Okay, and I want to leave you with this. Of those 200,000 job positions just in the United States, not counting all the other countries in the world, all the other advanced countries in the world that are advancing on a daily basis, of those 200,000 job positions, 3/4 of those were network engineer positions. So that should give you some insight into where networking is, and I want to motivate you to stay with it. I want to highly convince you to get your Network Plus exam. Let me help you. If you want to get into the New to Networking course, I'm going to help you get that Network Plus exam so that you can get that under your belt and take the first major step towards getting your certifications and your experience toward your own networking career. Because the faster you get into it now and the faster you advance, not only the more money that you can make, but the more opportunities you're going to see. And so with that, I want to say, after fire hosing you with all those facts and figures, the absolute answer to that is a resounding yes. Yes, it is. Are networking careers worth pursuing? Absolutely yes. All right. So we'll start doing this every Friday. We'll have a Fast Track Friday. You may see me drinking coffee on here, but that's okay because you guys are getting to know me kind of for who I actually am. And I will see you from the great state of Texas. I want to thank you for watching this, and I'll see you in the next video.